shoot, baby. Shoot, shoot, baby. Shoot, baby. Shoot, baby.
You packed in your stack, especially in the back. Brother, wanna thank your mother for a butt like that. Giving you surprise with that shake, shake, booby. If looks could kill, you would be an Uzi or a shotgun. Bang!
Oh! Oh, hello. I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie?
I imagine all the balls. Now, I will keep this relatively short, but let's be honest here. After the train wreck that is Wolverine Origins, did any of us expect to have a Deadpool movie, let alone one that was this faithful? And sourcing comics isn't easy. I mean, you gotta think about it. There are characters with so much baggage, characters that have been around for years and years in comic form. You obviously can't adapt everything. So when it comes to making a movie, you gotta kind of pick and choose your little ingredients. But to me, the way to do it, the way to get it down is get the core of the character and the fans will be much more forgiving. Or at least I will be. Now it's time for me to get to the core of this video with Nero's top 10 favorite things about the Deadpool movie. You know, the intro to a movie can say a lot of things. It sets the tone, it lets you get ready for what's before you. You watch something like Star Wars The Force Awakens, and you're ready to just sit down and enjoy a sci-fi adventure with aliens, robots, and scary dudes wearing black. With Deadpool, the intro says exactly what I'm looking for. There will be fourth wall breaking, TV trope humor, shots at Ryan Reynolds' career and the mistakes he's made, and the film will celebrate the violence. The whole intro is delightfully shot with a turnaround sequence that you'll witness later in the movie during an opening action shot, but it's so cool to see in great detail all the little Easter eggs. It's as if the filmmakers are saying, you know, be on the lookout, look in the background, you know, you'll see little things here and there that you'll get to enjoy. They'll be from the Deadpool comics, they'll be from Ryan Reynolds' career. You'll really get a kick out of it. Frankly, if you aren't laughing by the end of this intro, then this just isn't going to be the movie for you. When it comes to humor, we've all heard it before, you know, it's subjective, everyone has their own tastes, and blah, 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 blah. But to me, this movie worked because it's a nice blend to really get that Deadpoolian charm. The humor in this movie really does fire on all cylinders, and it really understands how to do it from every angle. The movie does a good job of doing both. It's childish, and it's raunchy. It's a blend that encapsulates everything I like about Deadpool. When you really get down to it, his character is simply a glorified cancer-ridden man-child that can do something as simple as praise be to Voltron, our robot lion god, go watch the show on Netflix, and at the same time, he can just jerk himself off with the plushie of a unicorn doll in assless chaps.
Whoops, you weren't meant to see that.
When it comes to Deadpool, you got two simple factors. A, he's a merc with the mouth. 2, he's gonna mess people up. The movie gets that. Despite the film obviously having a small budget, and no, seriously, look at that budget. It's so small. Nonetheless, despite the budget being so low and being cut by 7 million, forcing the writers to change the ending, hence Deadpool forgetting his guns during the climax, and kudos to the writers, by the way. You were able to work around that limitation. Still, despite the idiots that be at Fox clearly having no faith in this movie, not wanting to actually make this movie, and probably hating us who actually enjoyed the movie because we made this more successful than all their stupid X-Men movies, Deadpool managed to make do with his limited and even slashed budget. Way to go, our beloved merc with the mouth. I actually really do enjoy the fight scenes of this movie. They're really cool. I actually love the fight on the Necesian Highway, and I really love the finale on what is clearly a decommissioned S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. So that is not only a great Easter egg, but that is saying if we could somehow get Fox to stop being douchebags and just let Deadpool be in Marvel's cinematic universe, this movie's canon fits right after Captain America Winter Soldier. Now, I'm sure some people might ask why I'm fine with Deadpool being this violent, but Batman killing left and right in BVS pisses me off. That's simple, actually. Deadpool is a murdering merc. Batman's supposed to be a dark knight with a code of ethics. Then again, DC seems to be compromising all their characters at this point. Though honestly, with the Deadpool movie, while I like the violence and that fight scene between him and Colossus is great, the fact that Deadpool fails and hurts himself repeatedly, only to be dragged away in handcuffs and cut off his own hand to blow a blood load in Colossus's face, which is beyond epically hilarious, that's all great and everything, but honestly, I still feel like the Deadpool movie's a tad too tame. This is still nowhere near as gory as the comic books. I mean, look at some of these panels. Deadpool gets mangled. It's pretty grisly stuff, and I love every minute of it. And I want some of that more in the next movie. Make that happen. Still, the tame quality aside, which I actually attribute to the budget restraints, I still think that movie did a pretty good job. The violence is still hilariously over the top, something that I've expected from not only my Deadpool comics by this point, but for a Deadpool movie. And honestly, that hat trick headshot was pretty fantastic. Now, to me, the supporting cast is important as they help flesh out the main characters. You can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep, and I like that Deadpool was able to actually have friends and wasn't some loner. He had Vanessa, his escort-turned-fiancé, Weasel, his handler for merc jobs, bartender, and all-around pain-in-the-ass buddy, and Colossus. Just Colossus. I know plenty of us like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but I have never felt more joy than Colossus being in this movie when it comes to X-Men characters. He looked like crap in those X-Men movies, just like how Deadpool looked like crap in that Wolverine Origins movie. It's like poetry, it rhymes. But this movie, they made him look like the comic. They even made him Russian. The X-Men movies didn't even make him Russian. And there he was, Peter Rasputin? Okay. The movie here plays up the facts that Colossus is this big paragon Boy Scout with a thick, beautiful Russian accent. And it works because Deadpool is this embodiment of sleaze. This makes for great comical interaction. As for Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who arguably has one of the coolest names to ever be conceived for a character, I like her. She's pretty cool. Not sure why in the comics she had telepathy and precognition powers, but the movie fixes that. She blows crap up, and she blow it up good, and I like that. There's really not much to say about her. Matter of fact, you could pretty much sum up Negasonic with what Deadpool said. And frankly, Deadpool sums up her character perfectly.
Look, I'm a teenage girl. I'd rather be anywhere than here. I'm all about long, sullen silences, followed by mean comments, followed by more silences. So what's it gonna be, huh? Long, sullen silence or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
You know, some people would have you believe a hero is only as good as its villain, and that's pretty true as a villain should be entertaining, even if Marvel films have proven that the majority of their movies have had bland antagonists. Still, beats the DC movies. Yeah. So to my surprise, Deadpool does a good job with Ajax and Angel Dust. Sure, Angel's just an enforcer for Ajax, but I like her. Gina Carano has this badass aura to her. She walks into a room, and she just sort of like commands with intimidation and authority. Hell, she was my ideal choice for Wonder Woman, especially when you consider that she was an American gladiator. Instead, DC got Gadot, and looking between these two, is there really a debate on who should be playing a Amazon warrior demigod? Just saying. And may I just add, by the way, Angel's fight with Colossus, top notch, one of the highlights of the movie. It is so nice that we had a film that allowed a woman and a man to beat the crap out of each other and didn't hold back. It wasn't a slobber knocker, ballroom style brawl in a junkyard, and I loved every minute of it, how these characters just wailed on each other. And she was kicking Colossus's freaking chrome ass a good portion of the time. As for Ajax, at first I thought the character was kind of boring, but that was only at first. After rewatching the movie, I actually get it now. I kind of get his character more. After his nerve endings got fried from the experiments that gave him his powers, which he can't feel pain and he is pretty super strong. That's about it. But I get it now. Because he lacks the ability to feel physical stimuli, he's divorced from that mentality and he's slowly turned psychopathic. Now he takes pleasure in being a sadist and hurting other people because he can no longer feel pain, so he gets his jollies by putting pain into others. That's actually pretty twisted. I like it. Sure, Angel and Ajax may be simple. They're not some kind of philosophical bullcrap about God or how they're chosen to perform a task for frickin' society or some garbage. But you know what? They might be simple. But that doesn't mean they weren't entertaining.
You also are relentlessly annoying.
Thanks. Never heard that before.
Why don't you do us all a favor and shut the fuck up? Or I'll sew your pretty mouth shut.
You know, sometimes a movie can simply be a jumbled mess, and with its poor structure, it destroys everything. Or if it just takes too frickin' long to get around to the point. With Deadpool, I like that this movie treats you to our Crimson friend in the mask right out of the gate. It's not going to build up the origin, then give you the costume antics, like some store-bought cake with lukewarm whipped cream on top. This is Deadpool. It needs to start with those antics, to satiate the inner fan, especially because we've been waiting so damn long after Wolverine Origins. And then it will move on to the character depth, and it will build this character up. I like that. I got this cold opener to get me engaged in a mystery. I see a guy in a red suit running around killing people, and now it entices me to want to see more of this unfamiliar Ninja Spider-Man character. It's not the typical origin formula where a portion of the act is the building up to the damn character and costume reveal. This movie was smart and different in handling the origin story, while still making it an origin story. The movie does a nice job of blending the present with the past, and it didn't ever leave me feeling bored.
I presume a crisp high five?
For you, 10.
So after that intro, you figure, well, it's gotta only be a comedy, right? Oh, so wrong. This movie can actually be fairly heartfelt.
Here's the thing. Life is an endless series of train wrecks with only brief commercial-like breaks of happiness. This had been the ultimate commercial break, which meant it was time to return to our regularly scheduled program.
I expected at best the only wetworks from this movie was going to be me peeing from laughter. And that did happen. But I didn't expect to cry.
The worst part about cancer isn't what it does to you, but what it does to the people you love. Who knew if this guy could save my life? But I knew there was only one way that I could save hers. Isn't that what superheroes do?
This movie knows how to do drama, and it knows how to do it really, really well. They don't make light of the fact that Wade has cancer. They treat it very seriously, that he is going to die from this. And you know what? That drama, it makes me appreciate the humor a lot more, because it also helps to build the depth between these characters.
Please?
You look like you need a blowjob and a shower. So courtesy calls for the latter first.
How about 3 shots of Patron?
Or, how about triticumestima, wheatgrass, excellent for the immune system.
Jesus Christ, you sound like Vanessa.
I like the fact that this movie shows you that Wade's terminal illness affects not only him, but people around him. It affects Vanessa, it affects Weasel, and you see a true connection that forms between these people. That's what makes it more realistic. So, it's strange, isn't it? This is a comedy in which a guy who is riddled with cancer spanks it to a unicorn and assless chaps, but is somehow more profound than a Batman-Superman movie that is supposed to be played straight as a wannabe Nolan drama based in reality. The character interactions are the key. Stuff like Weasel being a hilarious jackass to Wade, and that's how they sort of buddy up, is great. It shows a good connection. The stuff like the romance between Wade and Vanessa is very well done. Now sure, there's a fantastic montage of the two bucking like bunnies, but it also shows how these two really connected, and it's really charming and sweet. I haven't really seen a romance this well handled in a superhero movie since ever, I think. Plus, their mad love is just adorably bizarre.
Hey. After a brief adjustment period and a bunch of drinks, it's a phase. I'd be happy to sit on.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about this thing for a moment. Look, studios screwing up intellectual properties and executives not giving two craps about what fans think is common. It's a bit too common. See, the Snyderverse to me is pretty much if they took Wolverine Origins and then followed through on the threat of making it the cinematic universe. And just the thought of that actually makes me want to throw up a little bit. To me, this is a big deal. The Origins Deadpool was so bad that this character went into the grave for some time afterward. Hell, Ryan admits to being pretty much blackmailed to play the character in Origins during an interview.
But the second half, Deadpool, they sew his fucking mouth shut.
Right, he doesn't talk at all.
Yeah, let lasers come out of his eyes, and he has like weird knives that fly out of his hands. And I remember saying, that's really gonna anger some people. That's not Deadpool. And they basically said, well, you know, you can play him, or we can hire, you know, someone else to play him. I don't, you know, they pick your guy, and he can play. So for me, it was a little bit, you know, I was a little bit blackmailed. I just said, you know, all right, let's do it, I guess.
So yeah, after the epic fail that Wolverine Origins provided for Deadpool, Wolverine, Blob, Gambit, Sabretooth, you know what? They pretty much failed on every possible way that could have been done for that movie. It is so nice now, we get to see Deadpool in his red-clad glory. He has the costume, he has the powers, he has the personality, he basically has the core of the character, which is what I said early on in this list. But you know what? He's a bit nicer. Now in the comics, Deadpool can be nice, and sometimes he's very nice, and I really love those parts about Deadpool. But in the comics, especially earlier on, Deadpool was a real prick to his friends, and would do horrible crap. He would actually take Blind Al and put her in the box, which is a room filled with sharp doodads. And of course, she is blind, so you can only imagine how that would end. Fact is, Deadpool was quite a piece of crap in the comics. The movie does a much better job of applying Wade's wacky killer antics with kindness, and this makes him into a much more lovable badass the audience can sympathize with, because the things that happen to Wade are tragic. Yes, he's a mercenary, but you know what? He's a pretty nice mercenary. He goes out on a job, he could have easily just shot this one douchebag. He didn't, he just scared the crap out of him, and that was enough. And then he takes the money he got for the job and returned it to the client, because it was just some girl that was being harassed by a stalker, and he didn't feel the need to take her money. And then he falls in love, and he's happy. And then he gets terminal cancer. Wade's likable. Really, really likable. And yeah, he's sort of a comical jerk. But he's not a jackass. The movie actually, to me, has done the best Deadpool to date, even in terms of all the comics, and I've read all 4 different series to date of the character, including multiple miniseries of this guy. And I feel like the movie surpasses the comics in every conceivable way. Yes, they took Deadpool, and he's still the merc with the mouth. But you know what else? He's a lovable lunatic.
What in the ass? That was not mean. I'm proud of you.
We will make an X-Men of you yet, Wade.
You know, for a second there, it felt like we were 3 mini-lion robots coming together to form one super robot.
There's a stupid.
Yeah.
Now some of you may argue this is a cop-out, and to those I say, shut up and let me explain. Marketing plays an important role when it comes to movies. Teasers, trailers, TV spots, all that crap is meant to entice you to go and see the movie. The way I see it, look at it like this. I see a trailer for Ghostbusters and see a dick shot from a proton pack. And then I decide, nah, I'll leave it. That's a step too far, isn't it? But I watch the Deadpool trailers, and they do some great variants. One of my favorites, actually, is the one with Golden Girl icon Betty White, who appears and promotes the flick. That's brilliant, especially if you're a Deadpool fan. The team got together and they understood how to handle marketing. They understood that after the events of Wolverine Origins, they had a lot to prove with this character. They had to prove that we'd be getting the character back that we wanted and deserved, and not some Hollywood brand X'd washed down load of crap like last time. After all, this is the same studio that gave us this.
Gavin Hood's idea was that this is about origins. So Deadpool is not going to ever come to his complete fruition as Deadpool as the fans know him in the comic books.
So when you think of it, that these morons are getting together, these same morons who took the heart out of Deadpool and stomped on it like a newborn puppy, yeah, it's pretty hard to have some faith there. But the trailers and TV spots sparked my interest enough to give this a go, and I went to that theater with zero expectation, because quite frankly I wanted to go in with expectations so low that I couldn't be disappointed. And I was pleasantly surprised by the outcome. So kudos to the marketing department, and kudos to the Deadpool team for hashtag making Deadpool great again. And that was my top favorite things about the Deadpool movie. What are some of your favorite things about Deadpool? Feel free to comment below and let me know. Special thanks to Chris Giarusso of ChrisGComics.com for supplying the end card art. Dude sketched it and I colored it. Be sure to check out his page. He's one awesome dude. Also, stop by my DeviantArt page, link in the description below, so that you can download a free wallpaper based on the end title card art. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to ToonGrin, and thanks for stopping by.